Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with you on this special and beautiful Ganga Dashera evening. Especially as it seems like we are about to be blessed by what we call Akash Ganga, the Ganga from the sky. Are you able to hear me in the back? Is the sound working? Can you hear me in the back? भैया कोई आवाज नहीं जा रही है पीछे. अब जा रही है मेरी आवाज? Can you hear me in the back? Yeah? Can you hear me in the back? Good, okay. Wonderful. So as I was saying, we are about to be, I think, blessed by Ganga from the sky, what we call Akash Ganga. But by her beautiful grace, she's waiting just a little, let the arati happen, let satsang happen, and then she'll come. We'll start as usual with a question that's come in advance from our family that joins us from all over the world through this gift of technology, our global family. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. How do we attract a true and genuine circle of friends? Friends who are good for us. In the Hindu tradition, in the Buddhist tradition as well, there's an emphasis on what we call Sangha. That association. Satsang is the association of truth. We use it as just, the general word to describe coming together in meditation, in prayer, in this question-answer experience. But satsang is literally the association with truth. That sangha, that association is critical. Who you hang out with is critical to who you become. And this is why that power of association is so important, and why we always emphasize, make sure you surround yourself with people who are what you want to become. Make sure you surround yourself with those who share your values, who share your ethics, who share your priorities. If you are looking to drink alcohol less, or party less, or gossip less, to hang out with people who spend all day long sitting at bars getting drunk and gossiping is not going to be a wise choice. It's going to be a choice that's going to bring you into unwanted patterns. You're going to look then for people who are doing that which you want to do. And so the way to find that, the way to attract that, is to become that. You know, I know so many people, not so much now that I'm much older and a nun living in India, but I remember when I was much younger, friends, when they were dating, they would say things like, I don't know where to meet the right man I want to be with. Or I don't know where to meet the right girl I want to be with. I keep going to the bars and I just can't find him, can't find her. And I always would laugh because nobody wants to be with the type of person who goes and just hangs out in the bars. But where do you go to try to meet the person that you're looking for? The bars, the clubs. And it was this great irony of people saying, every weekend I'm going to bars, I'm going to clubs, I'm going to pubs, looking for somebody. But all the people I meet are people who don't really share my values and my ethics. They're the type of people who hang out in bars and clubs. And you think, well, if you don't want to be with the type of person who hangs out in bars and clubs, why are you going to bars and clubs looking for them? You need to ask yourself, where are you going to meet those people you want to be with? Whether it's a life romantic partner, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or whether it's just a group of friends. If you meet them in a place that's full of people doing things you don't like to do, then you're not going to have a lot in common with them. And this is why it's so important. Go to the places that are of the values you have, the priorities you have. Go to yoga classes. Go to meditation, go to satsang, go to kirtan. Go volunteering, go feed the hungry. Go spending Saturdays planting trees. Go helping others, help the homeless. Do something. So that the people you meet there are going to be the type of people who go to kirtan, who go to yoga, who go to satsang, who go to meditation, who volunteer to help others. Those are going to be the people you want to hang out with. So in order to meet them, you need to be in those places both in person and also online. The online communities we're part of, ask yourself, are these people I really want to spend time with? Or am I just swept up by some online influencer or some this or some that celebrity, whatever? Wasting all our time there. Instead of that, join online communities of spiritual seekers, of meditators, of devotees. Create a sangha. If one doesn't exist that you want to be part of, create one. Put a call out into the world. We are lovers of Ma Ganga. Create a community. It's the beautiful thing about the online world. There's so many people. Even if you don't have 10,000 members of your community, it doesn't matter. Even if you've just got 10. Well, those are 10 people then that you can connect with. So create the community or join it, look for it. But don't rely only on online communities. We need in-person, living, breathing, energetic connections in our lives. Too many of us are too lonely because we spend too much time online. And we forget that those aren't actually real friends. They're just people who are your friends online. Some of them may overlap. But don't mistake friends online or followers online or likes online from real friends. Real people you really like, who really like you. Not who just clicked here to like something. So you'll find them. The world is full of beautiful people. Just take that first step. Reach out, open your heart. Put out that beautiful, energetic message to the world that my heart is open. And then connect. Whoever you meet, do namaste. That divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. And you'll magnetize a group of people. And even if not a big group, it doesn't matter. We don't need 50 best friends. You just need a few people. 2, 3, 1. With whom you can really share, with whom you can really open up. Beautiful. Are there any questions that anyone here has? Yes. Just one sec. There's a mic.
Ma'am, today we are facing some problems like how can we maintain our spirituality in our professional life, because we see that some people use constricts and false reasons, other thing to gain something. So how can we maintain our spirituality in our work?
Great. So how can we stay spiritual and also get ahead professionally, right? If other people are using cheating methods or dishonest methods to get ahead, how can we stay spiritual and still be successful professionally? Well, you've got to ask yourself what you mean by professional. It's okay. You've got to ask yourself, what do you mean by that? What does professional mean to you? Are you prepared to give up your values, your ethics, your spiritual connection, just for more money, just for more clients, just for more exposure, just for more business? You shouldn't be. And the truth is, in many cases, not all by any means, but in many of them you're absolutely right. If we did an in-depth investigation into 100 people who were very, very successful in business, I think you're right that we would find a lot of them who were doing things that were not necessarily honest or dharmic. But you're also going to find a lot who are honest and who are dharmic. But your question to me needs to actually be different. The purpose of our life is not how successful in business can I become. Yes, there needs to be enough money to eat. There needs to be enough money to have a roof over our heads. There needs to be enough money to have sweaters in the wintertime. But beyond that, the question is, how much is enough? At what point am I going to feel satisfied? How much more than my basic needs do I really need to feel enough? Is it ever enough? Right? I mean, there's always more to go. There's always someone who's going to be richer than you are or more successful than you are. When you don't have anything, you want to make 1,000 rupees. You make 1,000 rupees, then you want to make 10,000 rupees. You make 10,000 rupees, you want to make 1,00,000 of rupees. Make 1,00,000 of rupees, you want to be someone who makes 10 lakhs of rupees. Make 10 lakhs of rupees, well, I want to make 1 crore of rupees. That guy's making 1 crore of rupees. Why? There's nowhere it ends. And so you need to ask yourself, when is enough? And don't let yourself get brainwashed by a society that tells you it's never enough. Really ask yourself. Have, an annual self-check-in. An annual family check-in. I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but once a year, maybe twice a year. Just check in, are we on track? Are we on track? Is our balance between number of hours spent working and number of hours spent not working in our spiritual practices, in Seva, giving back, being with the family? Is that balance going right for me? Am I still so young and struggling that I have to work 100-hour a week to put food on the table, to send my kids to school? Or am I okay? And I can actually start thinking about spending some time every day in Seva. Spending some time every day meditating, doing yoga, more time with the family, time in nature, whatever it may be. Make sure that you decide that, not the culture that's constantly saying, you don't have enough, you'll never have enough, it's never enough. But the other question you also need to ask yourself is, how much of my values, ethics, priorities, spiritual beliefs am I prepared to sacrifice to get ahead? Ideally, I would say the question should be as close to zero as possible. But I've had people who were really not doing well financially at all say things like, well, what if the only job I can get, the only way I can feed my family, is to work in some non-veg restaurant? What if I don't work in that non-veg restaurant and so I can't feed my family? Well, in the scheme of things, feeding your family is a higher dharma, a higher duty than having, by no choice of your own, temporarily to be part of an industry that you don't believe in. Obviously, I would say find any other job if you can. But if your choice really is, my family starves, or I work at McDonald's, I'd say work at McDonald's, feed your family. But be looking for another job in all your spare time. Make up for it by seeing how many people who aren't vegetarians you can convert to being vegetarian. Because you don't want to spend the time of your day, the energy of your life, your sacred ojas, that energy of you, in something that is out of line with your own beliefs, because that saps your energy a lot. So find a way to make a living that's in alignment with your beliefs, in alignment with your values, that gives you time for a spiritual life. that enables you to live with honesty, with truthfulness, with compassion, with dharma, with integrity. You're going to be much happier at the end of the day and the end of your life. I've never ever heard of anybody who at the end of their life says, God, I wish I had prayed less and worked more. God, I wish I had, done less yoga and meditation and more work so I had made more money. You never hear that. You never hear people say, God, I wish I had compromised my values more. I wish I had been less true to myself. No one says that. They always say the opposite. God, I wish that I had lived in truth. I wish I had had the courage to stand up for what I know is right, what I believe in. I wish I hadn't been so swept up in a culture, in a society that says make money at all costs. So live according to your highest truth. Not only are you going to feel happier, but it's actually the best teaching you can give your kids. Because otherwise our kids grow up thinking that, yeah, that's the way to do it. Have a set of beliefs, have a set of priorities, have a set of values, and then throw them all in the trash in order to make some money. What are we teaching our kids? And what you'll find is that the systems of your body, your digestion, your ability to sleep, your nervous system, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, everything starts functioning much better when you live in alignment with what you believe. And when you're out of alignment, then we end up as, I think it was the Dalai Lama who said, we give up all of our health in order to make money, and then we try to spend all of our money regaining our health. But you can't actually do that. So stay in alignment, because no amount of money can buy your peace, or buy your joy, or buy your health. You've got to create that. And that's worth more than all of the financial success in the world. Other questions? Yeah.
Sadhviji, namaste. Thank you for this satsang. Staying in alignment to what you believe, if you're convicted to your spiritual sadhana, and when that gets stronger, if that becomes in contradiction with people who you live under one roof, how do you pursue your path and still be one? And
beautiful. So living in accordance with our spiritual beliefs, our values, when those are in conflict with those we are living in the same house with. It's difficult, but it's doable and it's important. And this is where the key question is, pick your battles. You've got to pick your battles. There are things that you may have a preference over, but that are not core beliefs, values, priorities, dharma. Let go on those. Do you prefer a certain type of food over another type of food? Do you prefer the refrigerator to be arranged in one way over another way? Do you prefer a certain type of music playing in the house compared to a different type? Do you prefer a certain TV show over another TV show? Let it go. These are things not worth fighting over, not worth having conflict over. But is this house a vegetarian house or a non-vegetarian house? Do we have alcohol in the house? Where and how do we invest our family money? Are we investing it in stocks, in companies who are engaged in behaviors that we don't approve of? Are we making money off of tobacco? Or off of coal? Or off of companies that are engaged in, running sweatshops in the third world? These start to touch core values. These start to be things that are actually really deeply important to you. And these are things that you need to express. It doesn't mean other people are going to agree. And there come times where you may have to decide that there are some things you do separately. Maybe you don't invest all the money together. Maybe you decide that your money, you really don't want it invested in tobacco. You don't want it invested in coal, fossil fuels. You don't want it invested in companies that are harming the earth or harming women or children or harming animals. That you don't want to be preparing food in a kitchen where meat is being prepared or eaten. And so you start to adjust. Stay with the family. It's not about separating on that level, but you just make adjustments. Maybe you have a different meal time. Maybe you cook at a different time. Maybe you set up another kitchen, even just a few, 2 electric burners somewhere separately. The nights they're making non-veg, you make khichdi separately, whatever it may be. But you figure out ways to stay true to yourself, even in those 4 walls. What's important is that we don't think that what we've got to do is convince others. Because a lot of times what we do is we feel like everyone has to do the same thing. And that's hard. When it works, it's fantastic, nothing like it. And compromise is important. And then there are some things that are so core and deep to us that we can't live in our own integrity and compromise on them. And so you find a way not to compromise. Maybe you agree that they'll eat non-veg certain days of the week when you have meals separately, but on the days of a week that you all eat together, the meal is vegetarian. Or there isn't alcohol served at the meal, or whatever it may be. I mean, you'll figure out ways. If it's about your time, because this comes up a lot, people say, I want to spend time meditating, doing yoga, doing seva, but there's this pressure in the family to be doing different things with my time. And again, that's where you realize some parts I can compromise, some I will not. So make sure that you've got set blocks of time. Morning, evening, night, whatever it may be, that are your non-negotiable times. This is your sadhana time, non-negotiable. But then there may be times that are negotiable. So maybe you're able to do your yoga asanas at a time different. You still do them. But maybe you're able to adjust the time that you do them so that it's not at the time when the family is coming together to do something as a family. So you say, okay, no problem. I'll do them earlier. I'll do them later. Figure out which things you can adjust to, because everyone has to adjust. You've got to compromise. But you've also got to make sure that you're living true to your dharma. And only you is going to be able to figure out how to really navigate that. But the key question is always pick your battles. What are the things you can adjust on that's not your core values, that's not your core dharma, but that's just preferences? And then the things that are core dharma, you don't adjust. But you stand ready to be in love anyway, to be in respect anyway. So you're not yelling at them, you're not criticizing them, that you're not telling them that they're not spiritual, that they're wrong, bad people. I'm better than you are. No, none of that. You just... And people will come around. I've seen it in so many families. They'll say, yeah, she's... वो अपनी भाव में है. And it's okay. Because even if they don't bow down and say, oh, it's so wonderful that she does that, at least कम से कम करने तो देते हैं. You know, they'll understand, yeah, she's like that. When I first became vegetarian when I was young, I didn't know anyone who was vegetarian. My parents weren't vegetarian, none of our family was, friends weren't. And in the beginning, it was hard because people would always try to get me to eat something I didn't want, or they would make me feel badly. And I was a teenager, I was only 15. But slowly, it became something that they didn't deeply respected. It wasn't like they thought, oh, she's so great because she's a vegetarian. But at least they stopped harassing me. And at least they would just say, yeah, let her do her own thing. She's not going to eat it. You know, don't pay any attention to her. She does her own thing. She doesn't eat this. And then that actually becomes a beautiful opportunity for you to work with your own approval and appreciation so much. Realize I may not always get it. In living my dharma, I'm not necessarily always going to get approval and appreciation for it. But that's okay, because that's not why I do it. I do it because it's my dharma. And as long as I'm able to do it unobstructed, unimpeded, unhindered, that's the main thing. So you just do it. They'll come around eventually. And what you'll find is slowly, you'll actually change them as well. Not necessarily. Most of the time that family has a huge impact. Slowly,